We're gonna be okay, guys. Let's just relax and I don't know, let's goof around and maybe tear down a rig. After this stream here, we are probably going to head over to Red Panda Mining, and not probably, you know we will. I think he's going to go live at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. He's doing the 0.4, oh wow, 0.4 Ethereum giveaway. I don't know if there's multiple 0.4s or if there's just 0.4, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, let's head over there after this stream. But for right now, I figured, I mean, I don't know, with all the stuff going on, quarantines and viruses and all kinds of stuff, I figured we would, I've been talking about tearing down a rig and kind of consolidating some things for a while. So I figured maybe we would hit that tonight. So I've got the rig in here in the office, and yeah, I figured we would just break this thing down. What the intent is, hey, what's up, Nefaris? What the intent is to get it out of this 8 GPU Veta 8 GPU rig frame and put it in a 6 GPU rig frame. There are 8 GPUs, so I'm gonna have to like drill holes, you know, in the little rail that goes across the back to hold the GPUs up. Not that big of a deal, but I want to get things, you know, the GPUs are really far apart. This case or this frame actually takes up a lot of space, in my opinion. I like things to be more compact and more consolidated and, you know, smaller. So it takes up less space. And so that's what we'll look at. Hopefully we can get this done in 30 minutes. I think we can. I don't know. So let's get to it. Let's see here. Let me switch over to that camera, and I got all my tool. Hey, what's up, Deadwood and Nefarious? What's going on, guys? I'm probably not going to be able to communicate much with the stream or with the chat because I'll be over there working on this rig. So I'll try to keep an eye on it, but I don't know if I can do that and actually take the rig apart. But I'll keep talking while I'm at this here. If you haven't used a Veta frame before, there some of the issues with them are a little weird because of the format here. Okay, so that wasn't even plugged in. That's right, these fans weren't on. I can't remember. They're called T-slot nuts, and you know they fit down inside of the rails. And sometimes they don't spin like they're supposed to whenever you're securing it. So you kind of have to keep an eye on it. A lot of times they come out pretty easy, but as far as like getting them secured whenever you're putting things together, that's a totally different story. So I'm just going to take off the front fan assembly here first. Got to take off these little caps, if you have those on there. If you don't have them, you probably have skinned up knees if these rigs sit on the floor, because I've definitely done that before. Where, you know, you hit this corner here and with your shin or whatever, and it's not a good feeling at all. Okay, so I do have some of these. I gotta get some wire cutters because this is actually secured to, I've got some of the power cables zip tied to the frame or the fan assembly here, so I gotta get that off of there. I think I'm free now. And yes, my wall is painted Bitcoin orange. Super cool. I dig it. All right, so I'm just gonna keep on rocking here. This is the GPU that we recently did a repasting on. That's this one right here. And the results of that were not really anything to really talk about because I didn't see any real benefit. There was no lowered fan speed or lowered temperature or anything after doing that repaste. And I think we did the repaste correctly, so I'm thinking that maybe it's because I'm mining CryptoNote coins. This is a CCX rig. It's been mining CCX for more than a year now. And maybe that's why it was like that. You know, they use less power. You know, CryptoNote coins do that. You know, they're a little bit less power hungry and all that. So maybe that's why. But I just didn't really see a significant increase or a decrease in temperature or anything. So kind of weird. I was kind of expecting to, but we did not. And in this teardown here, we're not going to worry about taking out the CPU or the fan, the CPU fan or the memory or anything like that. We're just, because, you know, I mean, it's a 3930. I don't remember the last time, Celeron, I don't remember the last time I repasted it, but you know, we don't use the CPU much for mining rigs, so I'm not going to worry about it at all. I don't know, you think we can do this in 30 minutes? I think we can. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the video over there, making sure that you guys can see what I'm doing here. Just undoing all the power and the connection from the risers and all that stuff, the USB cables and whatnot. Alright, so now all the GPUs. Now this rig, I had to flip the support bar. You can see the support bar probably, yeah, like right here. This support bar. So for this rig, the GPUs actually sit on the riser, and the riser sits on that support bar. And what's cool about the Veta frame is, you know, if you've got a longer GPU, one that can actually sit on that bar in the back, then you can flip this section right here around, okay? Flip it over, basically like this, right? And this bar will end up in the back to support the back of the GPUs. And then what's cool about that is it gives you access to the riser, right? It gives you access to the riser without having to take out the GPU. So if you have a bad riser on those frames, in that scenario where the bar is in the back, the support bar is in the back, then you can replace a riser without taking out the GPU, which is kind of cool. In our case here, the GPU was just too short. The bar would hit like back here somewhere, and it just wasn't enough. And it would slide down. I think actually it was further back. It was like back here. So the GPU would actually kind of slide down a little bit, slide down the bar. And that's why I ended up putting it in the front like that. I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about. Basically, everything's kind of flipped around. It's kind of configurable, which is kind of nice, you know, having it be this way. But at the same time, it's kind of a pain if you have a bad riser, right? Now let's yank out all these GPUs. I can't really see the chat. I think I might, maybe while I'm all quarantined and stuff, maybe I'll, because I have this big 60-inch TV right up here, right up there on the wall, and maybe I can do an output so that I can see the chat and stuff whenever I do things like this, because I can't really see it right now. I'll get over there in a minute once we get these GPUs out and see what you guys are chatting about. How's the sound? Sound good? It looks like the levels are pretty good, so I think everything's all right there. Let me know if the sound's good and all that stuff. Hope everybody is staying well, staying un-coronavirus. Not infected. Very weird times we're living in right now, guys. but we will get through it. And the cool thing, the bright side of this, for me anyway, hopefully for you, is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general were all built for this. They were built for this scenario that we're going through right now, which is kind of cool to think about. So see, had to leave the riser on there. You know, that's how it comes apart. But this is the GPU that we actually replaced fans on it, and in one video, and then also this is the one that we recently repasted as well. I'm gonna take the riser off, set all this stuff aside somewhere. Got the little slide over here, right? The little lock. Actually, this one, yeah, this one wasn't even locked. And you can see the difference. So I mentioned this on the stream that we did the repaste. The fans that I have on the other GPU, the one that we repasted, I had replaced those fans before because you see how the stock ones say RS on them, and then I don't know if you can see that or not. So the aftermarket ones say gigabyte on them. So this is stock, this is aftermarket. So I've got a video about replacing the fans on there as well on the channel here. And what's cool is most of these, or actually all of these risers, still have the little foam pad on the bottom, which they normally fall off, you know, after heat and, you know, over time they actually fall off. I have that happen on all the other rigs. And I mean, you could obviously re-glue it on, but whenever it's sitting on that bar like that, in this configuration, it stays on there, but you'll see how this one's kind of like flipped down. It is off of here, but at least it's still somewhat connected, right? You just push it back up on there, but yeah, so that's one benefit of having it like that, is you don't lose all those foam pads from the risers. Yeah, Chan, not building anything, just taking a rig down. I'm going to make it, hopefully make it smaller. I'm going to put it in a 6 GPU rig frame instead of 8 like this one, and kind of consolidate, get things down a little bit, less footprint. That's the goal anyway. So this will be a multi stream, you know, event here. We'll go through this on several streams. So this one's just the breakdown, and then we'll probably build a 6 GPU beta frame maybe. And then once we get that built, then we'll come back and, you know, reassemble everything. And it'll basically be like a rig building stream, because it'll be from scratch, right? So that'd be pretty cool. I do have Velcro straps on most everything here to secure everything. I got it. These were from Monoprice. They're super cheap, but they work really well for stuff like this. Instead of doing zip ties, you know, these are reusable and all that stuff, so they work really well. I do have zip ties on a lot of things, but not everything. All right, let's see where we're at here. I'm probably going to leave these cables zip tied like they are, because I think that even in a 6 GPU rig frame, they're going to be similar. It'll be similar. So I'm going to leave this harness like this. I'm not going to undo it unless I have to once we reassemble. Once we reassemble, I'll reevaluate this statement, but I think that it'll probably work about the same. And you know, you're only decreasing the size by about, you know, I don't know, maybe like right here. So it'll only be that size, but I'm still going to have this server PSU in there with the breakout board. So I believe that I'll probably use the harness as is. So again, we'll revisit that whenever the time comes. Yeah, I didn't turn my bot off today. I just left it running. You guys are funny though. I guess I need to turn it off, but I forgot. I need to adjust it a little bit. All right, let's see what we got. So we do have a completely, what's the word, modular? Yeah, modular PSU. So I think I'll probably go ahead and take all these out. See, Nefarious likes stuff like this because he does this all the time. Building computers and stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot this rig had, so this rig has the bad white PCIe slots. We went over that in one of the previous streams. You can see how, you know, only the black ones are being used, and then so because of that, I had to buy this little 1x4 adapter here, you know, like this, for 3 of them. Probably should do an RMA on this board. It's like the controller for those PCIe slots is bad, so it's kind of weird, but I mean, I guess it happens. But I'm going to take all these out. It still works the way it, you know, it works fine the way it is right now. Although technically, like I said, I should probably RMA that board before the warranty expires on it. And maybe while this is broken down like this, maybe I'll probably need to use air compressor on everything and get everything cleaned up a little bit. Probably do that. Probably won't do that on a stream or anything because that takes a little bit of time, but we'll see how that works out. I think Red Panda is going live at 10:30 to do the giveaway and all that stuff. Probably don't need to take all the power cables out of the modular power supply, but I figured for just showing how it works, I guess go ahead and do it. Plus, you know, doing the rig build, it'll be like a build video, so that'll be kind of cool to do all that on the stream, I guess. I think maybe we should do like a challenge and see if we can get, well, one challenge would be, it's kind of funny because on their website, I remember a long time ago on Veta's website or whoever was selling Veta frames, their instructions actually say, hey, this should take about, I want to say it was 12 minutes, 12 to 14 minutes to build a Veta frame. It's like, yeah, you guys are crazy if you think that that's true. So a really good challenge probably might be to see if we can do it in half an hour. See if we can build a Veta frame in half an hour. That would be, or put together a Veta frame in half an hour. That would be kind of a cool challenge. I think you would have to, in order to do it in less than half an hour, or in half an hour or less, I think you would probably have to already have the parts out of the box, right? So I don't think you could start with the box and then go from there. I think that you would have to take everything out of the box first and then start. It's possible to build it in under 30 minutes, I think, as long as you don't experience too many problems with the T-slot nuts and the channels, the rails, and all that stuff, getting everything lined up. But yeah, it's possible. Might be a pretty good challenge to try to do it in half an hour. And you see I've got this little platform that I made for the server PSU so that the breakout board isn't just hanging, because there's not really like a real easy way to mount a server PSU on a Veta frame. It's just not designed that way. So I made this was MDF, like really thin MDF, I think, and just made like a little platform for it. That way you don't have to worry about whenever you put the the power cables in here, the 6-pin cables. You don't have to worry about this flipping down or anything like that on you, or you don't have to worry about holding it underneath while you plug it in. I think Red Panda puts zip ties on it, which is fine, but then you kind of have to, as you're plugging things in, you have to worry about holding the bottom of it and stuff like that, depending on how it's actually organized on here. There's probably ways of, like, you could probably put it like across here. There's 3 nice rails here, so you probably could put it like right here and have it held pretty well, right? And even, it looks like maybe it would even fit to where the breakout board might be on one of the rails. So that might be something I'll look at, actually putting it in the front. That might be kind of cool. But for the time being, I had it on this little platform here. And I just used the extra hardware that came with the Veta frame. The little machine screws and the T-slot nuts. Like that. Just drilled holes in it. And used it just like they use it everywhere else on the frame, right? So it worked out pretty well. And I just got double-sided tape underneath there holding the PSU onto the board. Or actually, no, you know what? It's Velcro. That's right. There you go. So it's just Velcro. I was thinking it was double-sided tape, but then I remembered, I was like, no, wait a minute. It's actually Velcro. So it's like industrial style Velcro. And that just holds it in place, and then boom, there you go. So then it's like a unit. It's its own unit. You don't have to worry about the structure of this being structurally sound or anything. Holds the power cable up in the back, so it works out really well. You just have to line up the holes correctly, whenever you're drilling the holes for the rails and everything. So pretty cool. On my rigs in the office here, the non-shared ones, I actually have plexiglass, so they're clear, and because this looks kind of shoddy, right? But the clear ones look really cool, because it's just like a piece of glass underneath it. So, but yeah, not bad. It was a solution, I guess you could say. Maybe not the best, but it did work. Got the PSU off of there. And then last but not least, take the motherboard out. I still have the OS. This is running Simple Mining OS. I still have that. Oh, you know what? This is not. I have to use this. Oh, wow, that was really loose. And I've never had a problem with going into the brass standoffs, and the way I'll show you once I get there, once we get the motherboard out. Some folks put, I think Red Panda actually mentioned it, he sets his on like cardboard or something, because I think he's had problems with shorting and stuff like that in the past. Now, could that be what happened to the PCIe slots? I don't know, but I wouldn't think so, but it's possible, I guess. So I use it as designed. I have the brass standoffs underneath the motherboard. They're lined up properly. That's another thing that's kind of tricky, because these rails, forget their proper name, but the rails here, the aluminum rails, actually can slightly turn on you, right? So then the standoff doesn't actually match up or meet directly under the hole like it's supposed to. So you got to watch that. Just make sure it's all lined up right. So sometimes you'll have to loosen it here and flip it around and make sure that everything is lined up properly. But I'm a big fan of these Avetta frames. They look cool. They're functional, configurable. They have different capabilities. They make all kinds of different accessories and stuff for these things. For this particular aluminum T-slot rails. I don't know if that's the right name, but that's what I'll call them for now. They actually have an aluminum industry name that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, they have all kinds of different fittings and stuff, so you can really do a lot with these things. I want to say that they do they do like 3D printers with this type of material as well? I think so. I think they do 3D printers. I think they do like a test bench type thing. I believe that they have those made out of this same material as well. So yeah, it's pretty functional. All right, so now the motherboard's out. H110 Pro BTC Plus CPU, Celeron. I think I've got 8 gig. Yeah, 8 gig in here. 2 4 gig sticks. Again, not really that important for a mining rig. But yeah, I'm just using it with the brass standoffs just like it's supposed to. You can see them right here. And I haven't had a problem yet. So whenever we build the next frame, we'll go through that process as well. But that is pretty much it. I mean, you could go so far as to take off the bracket for the PSU. I'm going to leave it on there for now. This is probably going to go in the attic, or I don't know if somebody wants it. Let me know. I have 2 6 GPU frames that are in the box still. So I'm going to get after that. I have to get them out of the attic. But once I get them out of the attic, then maybe I'll do that tomorrow. And then that way we can do a Veta frame build live. That would be kind of cool. I haven't done that before. I do have videos on my channel about Veta builds though. I think I have at least one where I built a frame. There are other YouTubers that I think Red Panda has one. I don't know if Brandon Coins ever built a Veta frame live or anything, or on his stream, or on done a video. I don't know, but Red Panda did, and there are others. But what I did in my video, because some of the tricky stuff is those T-slot nuts. So in my video for Veta, I think it was a 6 GPU Veta frame that I was building at the time. No, actually, you know what? It might have been I think it was a 6 GPU. Anyway, doesn't matter. It all works the same. But I was doing like really close-ups of how the T-slot nut works and what you have to watch for. So there's some really good, really close-up, video of how the T-slot nut works and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I think there's been some comments on there about people that have watched the video, but they actually tried to build the frame without watching the video, and they were like, man, I really wish I would have watched this video first, because now it makes more sense like how things are lined up. It's really hard sometimes to line up that bottom part because there's 4 different points of connectivity, right, between the rails and how it all works. It's kind of tricky. So you have to leave everything kind of loose initially, and then once you set it on a flat surface and get everything kind of lined up, then you start tightening everything. But then it gets tricky because your T-slot nut isn't lined up right, and it gets crazy. So hopefully we will go through that and hopefully build a Veta frame in 30 minutes. I don't know if we'll do it or not, but we're gonna try. So that's what we'll do tomorrow. Oh, okay, so Brandon Coin's going to go live really quick, and then Red Panda. I think Red Panda is probably still going to do the giveaway, maybe. Yeah, so let's head over there. Let's see what's going on here. Let's go to Brandon Coin. All right, so it says he's live now. GPU mining show in quarantine. So let's head over there and check him out. Let me post the chat here, or the link in chat. Make sure you hit him up with a Savage Raid hashtag whenever you head over there, to let him know that you came from here, and I will see you guys over there. How does that sound? See y'all tomorrow night. Stay savage, everybody.